Look, let's move now on to actually two issues of free speech, and our guests will be across both of them. We reported on Friday, and this was from a release in some social media activity from the Free Speech Union, that a primary school has published a sort of code of conduct for kids that says misgendering someone by their pronoun, using the wrong pronouns, would result in disciplinary action. This is for children at a primary school. So this is someone, if they're a bloke and they identify as a Sheila, or vice versa, be it a parent or another pupil, if you don't, and look, in honesty, in practical terms, this hardly ever comes up. You call people by their names, and you generally know what the names of the kids you're at school with. But I don't know, if you had a transgender teacher, heaven forbid, and you called them, Mr. Smith instead of Mrs. Smith or Ms. Smith, you'd be disciplined as a kid for doing this at a New Zealand primary school. Let's deal with this issue first. So what the hell is going on here? It feels like, and this is the very issue that made Jordan Peterson famous, compelled speech, or what he felt was compelled speech around pronouns. So what the hell is going on here? We're joined now by Jonathan Ayling from the Free Speech Union. Jonathan, and I know the reaction we've had to talking about this on Friday. This seems madness, mate.
It absolutely is. And look, Sean, you say this looks like compelled speech. There's no two ways about this. This is the definition of compelled speech. Those who are proposing it simply say, but this is the right kind of compelled speech. When I sat down with a representative of the trans community, a prominent trans right activist late last week, he said, this is good authoritarianism. Effectively, these are bullies, but they're the right kind of bullies. And I call it hogwash, Sean. You're right, it is issues that others have faced similarly around the world. But there's actually, for the Free Speech Union, we think there is a bigger issue at play often with compelled speech than with prohibited speech. Both are obviously very problematic, but there is something especially profound about being forced to express a position that you do not hold, that you do not agree with, rather than just being prohibited.
Or that in the case of primary school children, you are incapable of holding or discerning, and shouldn't have to be forced into a position where you do.
Well, many of our supporters would ask, why is this conversation occurring at primary schools at all? And I think that is a very legitimate question. It's probably slightly beyond the remit we have working just on free speech, but there are certainly those who are saying, why are 10-year-olds having to...
Now, can you remind me again, what is the school at the centre of this at present?
Well, look, the specific school that we first began to engage with is Mellons Bay Primary, and so that's up in Pakuranga in Auckland, and we've had interactions with the principal there in the past where members of the Free Speech Union have contacted us to discuss...
what were those contacts over, Jonathan?
A similar issue. Previously, the principal had threatened parents at the school who were discussing aspects of the curriculum within the school and were working to oppose it. She said that they weren't allowed to be talking to each other about this.
What?
And she threatened to report them to the Board of Trustees.
For talking amongst themselves about concerns they have about what their kids were learning at primary school?
About the relationship and sexuality education curriculum. That's
so she
right.
wanted to ban parents from talking to each other about those issues?
They really shouldn't be expressing their opinions on these things, Sean. Come on. So we had already...
Oh, this woman, Sarah, is it a woman? Man or indefinite? It is a woman there. And the local MP for Pakuranga there, Simeon Brown, was also included in that discussion that we ended up having, and I don't think he saw any time for this either. And we've also made sure that he's aware of the treatment that some of the young students in his electorate are also having on this issue as well. But Sean, we're concerned by the fact that
It's not just the school. There is an outfit called School Docs, which prepares policy documentation for schools around the country. And I don't think, it doesn't appear from our perspective that they're an ideological outfit.
Okay, but they are, because we've got so many boards of trustees with only limited skill sets from the catchment of people they have on their boards. It's actually not a bad business to say we'll do cookie cutter policies
exactly
that
right.
everyone needs. Right, I get that. So that's what School Docs does. Yeah.
So School Docs, across a whole host of issues, but they are the ones that I understand have prepared this specific policy, and so we are fairly confident it is also in place or about to be put into place.
So this will be recommended as a cookie cutter policy for every school that uses School Docs to write their policies for them.
For your listeners' sake, let me remind them what this policy is saying is that a preferred pronoun represents reality, and so to not operate consistently and not speak consistently with that preferred pronoun or with that identity would be a form of harassment, would be a form of bullying and intimidation. And so what the primary schools are saying is we're not going to discipline the children for refusing to use preferred pronouns. We're gonna discipline the children for bullying. And really, Sean, are you going to stand up against primary schools disciplining children for bullying? Don't we all think bullying is wrong? We all think bullying is wrong. So we need to all get in behind this. And if you don't get in behind this,
you're a bully.
You are a bully.